Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan and thank you so much for clicking on one of my bookish videos. Today I am going to be doing a super fun reading challenge, swapping my screen time for the week with reading. I purposely picked this week because it was the screen time I had while I was on vacation, so I was on my phone a bit more because I wanted it to be a challenge for me as someone who normally reads quite a bit each day. And I read some really great books this week, some new anticipated releases, and I can't wait to show you. So if you are interested in seeing me swap my screen time for reading this week, then keep on watching. I also quickly wanted to say that I recently hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, which is completely insane. I did not think that this channel would grow so fast and do so well within a year of me starting it. So thank you so much to any of you that subscribe and have watched any of my videos. I have had so much fun yapping on this side of the internet about books, and I do have a special little giveaway planned soon, not in this video but probably the next video. Once I also hit 7,000 followers on my Instagram, I'm gonna do a joint little giveaway. So if you want to keep an eye out for that, feel free to subscribe here and on my Instagram. And thank you guys again. Hello, happy Monday. It is currently Monday night and it is 7:23 p.m. So that just gives you a little idea of what time I normally get home and am like all ready to wind down and start reading for the night, which puts me at a bit of a disadvantage when I had to read 5 hours and 23 minutes today. So that is okay. I did not speak this morning, but I did record a clip this morning of starting the timer because I am counting audiobook reading as part of my daily total. On this channel, audiobooks count as reading. And so I listened to my audiobook this morning and on my way home during my commute. And right now I am at 3 hours and 45 minutes left for reading today. So let me tell you, I kind of started this challenge knowing that I was going to fail the first day because even though I do read quite a lot, I am really not sure what got into me last Monday that I had a screen time of 5 hours and 23 minutes. It is definitely the highest of this entire week. Most days I have like 3 hours, which I feel like is doable. Anyway, the point is I'm about to restart the timer right now at 3 hours and 45 minutes left. There is no way that I'm completing this tonight. I feel like I can probably read 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours if I just put my phone down and lock in for the rest of the night before I go to bed. And then you know what? If that's the case, then I only didn't complete like an hour, and I feel like I'll feel pretty decent about today. And then hopefully I can complete all the rest of the days this week. But it's definitely going to be a challenge because I tried to choose last week as my screen time week because I feel like I did a decent amount on my phone, which is a big challenge for me. What I am going to be starting this video off reading is the 2 books that I'm in the middle of that actually come out tomorrow. I am reading the Build a Boyfriend Project by Mason Deaver. This is an advanced copy that was gifted to me by Avon books, so thank you very much to them. This is a queer romance and it's about essentially this man who goes on a terrible first date with this other man and decides that he is going to teach him how to be a better boyfriend and how to date for this like article idea for the company he's working with. I am 50% through right now and I'm really enjoying it. Honestly, it's super cute. So I am hoping to finish it by tomorrow so I can get a review up. And then the other book I'm reading also comes out tomorrow. It is House of the Beast by Michelle Wong. This was gifted to me by by Harper Voyager, so thank you to them. This is like a dark gothic fantasy book. I guess technically romantasy, but we're not really at that point yet. I am like 45% through, so I also have a good chunk to get through by tomorrow. I am really loving it so far. It is set in the world where this girl is basically like becomes an orphan and is like taken away by her father to like train in his family and like be part of the House of the Beast, which is one of the gods that like rules their world. And I'm really liking like the whole concept of the old gods and like the very gothic fantasy vibes of the book. And the main character, Alma, is super interesting. And I do like the little glimpse of the romance that she has with her god, which is very fascinating. So these are the two books that I am going to be reading tonight. Like I said, hopefully I can read at least like 2 hours out of this remaining 3 hours and 45 minutes. And I will check in tomorrow and we will hope that tomorrow I can do a little bit better with this challenge. Hello, happy Tuesday. It is currently 7:52 and I am finally checking in for the day. And that just sums up what it's like to work in the court system. We had a jury trial today and I did not get home until about 6:45. So I am finally ready to read and settle in for the night. And I figured I would do my updates for today. So as you saw from this morning, my screen time for today was 3 hours and 19 minutes, which honestly was not that bad. So I did start the timer this morning on my way to work to listen to my audiobooks. And so far I've listened to about an hour and 19 minutes. So I have 1 hour and 59 minutes left, which means that I would get this done by about 10 p.m. tonight, which is doable. But that means that I literally just need to read for the rest of the night. I am determined, however, to complete this swapping screen time for reading today because yesterday I did fail as expected. Yesterday I read basically 4 hours, which honestly is pretty good. Like I will take that for what I managed to get done on a Monday, but I did have an hour and 22 minutes that I did not read yesterday. So Monday was a fail, but Tuesday is going to be a success. I have 1 hour and 59 minutes left. I am about to start reading. I am finishing. I'm literally like so close to finishing the Build a Boyfriend project, but I'm about to finish that. So that's not much more I have to read in that one. And then I am going to be reading Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie, which I am so excited about. My besties, Catherine, Anna, and Estefania have been really raving about this book recently, and I just honestly can't get over how beautiful it is. It is a dark fantasy young adult book. I don't know much about it, but I think it's like dark academia fantasy, and I'm super excited. I need to finish this by Friday because Friday I am going to a book event and signing with this author. So I'm hoping to make very good progress with this tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. And just in case anyone was wondering, I was listening to my audiobook for Flirting Lessons by Jasmine Gollery yesterday, and then I finished that this morning because I only had like 3 hours left going into this week. And then right now I just started the audiobook for The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, I believe. Very out of my comfort zone. I think it's like a horror sci-fi type book, but I've heard really good things, so I think that's the audiobook I'm going to be listening to during my commute. With all that said, let's settle in for the night and start reading Immortal Consequences. Hello, happy Thursday. I did not check in yesterday because Wednesday is the Summer I Turned Pretty release day for each episode, and I was consumed by Conrad's Point of View, episode 5. So I'm here to give you some updates. I did read yesterday, and I actually did complete the challenge yesterday. Okay, so Tuesday I did end up completing my reading for the day. I read 3 hours and 19 minutes like I was filming. I started, I believe, Immortal Consequences and made it a bit into that night. And then yesterday, Wednesday, I had to read 3 hours and 53 minutes total. I did complete that. I actually managed to read the entire day, even though I was busy at night. So that was a win. I read more in Immortal Consequences. I also did start reading a little bit of Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, my arc, which I wanted to read more of today, but then I realized that I should probably focus on finishing Immortal Consequences because I have the event tomorrow night. I also listened a bit to my audiobook. I could not find an audiobook that I wanted to listen to this week, which tends to happen after I really enjoy an audiobook. So I ended up listening to a few different options yesterday, but today I had to read for 3 hours and 24 minutes total. So similar to Tuesday and Wednesday. And so far I have read basically 3 hours. Right now I have 27 minutes left, which I guess I should pause that. I have just made it to page 300 in Immortal Consequences. So I have about 200 pages left. Honestly, I am really, really loving this. This is definitely giving like dark academia vibes, which I think is like my favorite part because it's basically set at Blackwood Academy, where this like core group of 6 characters, kind of pairs that have a really intimate connection and relationship with each other, they're all brought together into this like trial and competition where they're fighting to win this ability to like decide their future in the afterlife. So basically this whole book is like set when people pass on. Some of them are chosen to go to Blackwood Academy, where they get to learn how to help people who have passed away to basically like move on into the afterlife. And these characters are like training to become part of like the elite group, or you have the option to forget everything from your past and kind of just move into the ether, which I think is such a fascinating way to depict like the afterlife. And so far I'm really loving the trials process and like the little competition, the monsters and like dark demons that are being brought in. I think that fantasy aspect is super cool. And most of all, aside from the dark academia, I am loving the relationship between August and Ren, which I did hear a lot of. They are 2 of the main characters, and you do get the point of view of each of the 6 main characters in this book, which I'm really enjoying. But August and Ren just have such a deep connection. You can tell they hate each other. It's definitely enemies to lovers. Their banter and the way that they keep like saving each other and trying to help each other, but then acting like they hate each other the next day, the next minute, is just a type of enemies to lovers that I live for. So I'm really enjoying their point of view. The real question is, am I going to be able to finish this book by tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for my book event? I'm not sure. 200 pages before 7 p.m. tomorrow is super ambitious, but I'm thinking I am going to go to bed soon after I finish reading a little bit more for tonight, and then hopefully tomorrow morning and maybe during lunch I can read like another 100 pages and then read a little bit more tomorrow night right before the event. Not the end of the world if I don't finish it, but tomorrow I do have my second biggest reading day of the week. Of course, I have to read for 4 hours and 39 minutes, so that's going to be really interesting. Hopefully I can listen to a good chunk of my audiobook on my commute, and I'll fill you in about the audiobook I'm listening to tomorrow, and then we'll see if I finish Immortal Consequences, and then my next book will be continuing with the little bit I've read of Good Spirits. So I will see you tomorrow, and we will check back in on day 5 of this reading challenge. Happy Saturday. I am here to give some updates. I did not update on how much I read yesterday, Friday, because in all honesty, I kind of flopped yesterday. I had the second biggest day of reading to do. I had to read for 4 hours and 39 minutes, which honestly was a lot, especially because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to read much Friday night because I was going to a book event and signing. I did not read 4 hours and 39 minutes. I ended up reading about 2 hours and 40 minutes. My timer left off at 1 hour and 58 minutes left. So I failed yesterday, but that is okay. This is an extremely realistic reading week, honestly, because I feel like I ended up being kind of busy at night, but that's okay. I did end up finishing Immortal Consequences, which I absolutely loved, and getting to hear Ivy Marie, the author, speak yesterday about her process and just like how it has been publishing this book and how successful it has been was so inspiring. inspiring and really made me appreciate the book even more. So I'm going to give my thoughts and like final review on that later when I hopefully like wrap up for the day. Getting into Saturday, I'm determined to complete the timer today. I have to read today for 3 hours and 25 minutes, which I feel like is more realistic. I was gonna say that I normally read more on weekends, but it is currently 11:33 and I haven't read this morning. I woke up late, so honestly it probably is gonna be still a bit of a stretch to get this done. Anyway, I am setting the timer to 3 hours and 25 minutes. I'm going to start it now. I'm probably gonna read for about an hour on my Kindle. I am going to be reading Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I started reading this like a little bit, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I paused to finish Immortal Consequences. So my goal is to hopefully finish Good Spirits this weekend and then like maybe start another book. But honestly, for swapping screen time for reading, I feel like this has been like a very typical week. Like I have not read a crazy amount, and that's okay. I also did continue listening to my audiobook yesterday, which I don't know if I ever updated about. I am listening to Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmer. This is the first book in this like young adult fantasy romantasy series. I am currently 31% through, which is pretty good. I'm hoping to get to 50% this weekend. Hopefully I can listen to a bit maybe today or tomorrow as I'm like doing chores and stuff. So I did end up settling on this audiobook. I was like trying to pick between some, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I feel like at around the 20%, things started to like pick up and like major moments started happening and like characters being brought together. And so now I'm like pretty hooked, which I'm excited about. That is the plan. I am going to definitely, big priority for today is get my reading time done. 3 hours and 25 minutes. I can do that. So I will check back in with you later. If I look a little rough with tears in my eyes, that's because I just finished rewatching episode 5 of The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I am suffering. Like, was sobbing the same as how I sobbed the first time I watched it. So that's great. If you see tears in my eyes, that's how I'm feeling. Anyway, I wanted to do a check-in because I have made great progress today with my reading. It is currently 9:50 p.m. and I have about 37 minutes left, which is pretty good. So I would be done reading around 10:30, which is perfect, and I can go to bed. So I feel like today is going to be a success. I feel pretty confident about that. And I wanted to talk about the book that I just started reading, and that is Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. Honestly, I kind of cannot get over the fact that I have this book in my hands. I was not expecting to get a physical copy of this, and it showed up while I was on vacation, and literally what a prized possession. She is so beautiful, and I was so excited for this book. So currently I am on chapter 15, page 148, so pretty good progress today so far. I think I'm at like 40%. I'm hoping to get to like 55% tonight. I'm loving it. It feels a little bit odd to be reading a holiday romance right now in the middle of August, but honestly, that is like not ruining my experience whatsoever. I thought it may, and I'm kind of eating it up. Like, if anything, it's just making me more excited about like fall and just like, I guess, winter, like the holidays in general. But this is a paranormal romance, I guess, slash holiday romance, because it is about Harriet and Nolan, and Nolan is technically like one of the ghosts of your past, and he comes at the very beginning of December to see Harriet, our female main character, and he is supposed to help her like make amends for the like mistakes and like bad things that she's done in her past. She is definitely like the type of person that is very kind-hearted, like takes care of other people, just wants to help, and is like always people pleasing. And so the two of them are a bit confused what bad thing she did in her past that he's supposed to be helping her with. That's kind of where I'm at right now, but I am loving Harriet's character. I can tell that she has a very extensive history in terms of her family life, and I think like the trauma that they have left her with, and we're slowly starting to unpack that. And I'm just reminded every single time that like I love BK Borison's writing so much. Like she is one of the top romance authors for me, seriously, and the way that she just writes like these cozy romances with these amazing female main characters needs to be studied. Yeah, I'm going to check back in the morning on my update for finishing today and where I'm at in good spirits. I'll tell you like my overall thoughts because I doubt I'm gonna finish it. I will recap all of the books I read because I do want to tell you my thoughts about Immortal Consequences, but I'm gonna do that in the morning. Gonna go read for the next 37 minutes and get to bed, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello. I am finally here to wrap up this little vlog and give you my final thoughts and reviews. Saturday, I did finish my reading time for the day. I read 3 hours and 25 minutes total, and it honestly was a really successful day for me. In total, I ended up reading 60% of Good Spirits by BK Borison. I read a really good chunk of this book. I like low-key binged it on Saturday, so that was really good. And then I also listened to about like 10-15% more of my audiobook Defy the Night. So all in all, a good day. And that means that at the end of the week, I did complete the challenge and I read fully for 4 out of the 6 days that I did the challenge. So Monday, I failed. I did not read 5 hours and 23 minutes. I think I only ended up reading like 3 hours and 30 minutes. Tuesday, I finished the challenge. I read 3 hours and 19 minutes total. Wednesday, I also finished the challenge. I read 3 hours and 53 minutes total. Thursday, I also finished the challenge and read 3 hours and 24 minutes. Friday, I failed, and I think I only ended up reading like 3 hours out of 4 hours and 39 minutes. And for Saturday, I read the full 3 hours and 25 minutes. So I feel like it was a good week. Honestly, got in a lot of good reading time. It was also a very realistic week because I ended up being busy and having stuff multiple nights, which takes up my reading time. But all in all, I read, we'll say 3 books, basically give or take, because I finished the Build a Boyfriend project, which I already gave you my thoughts on, and I settled on a 4-star rating for this one. I really enjoyed it. I finished House of the Beast, which I also really enjoyed and gave 4 stars. And then the other 2 books that I read and didn't share my thoughts yet were Immortal Consequences. I ended up loving this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars, and I actually got to meet Ivy Marie, like I said, on Friday. And I feel like hearing her speak about this book made me like appreciate it even more. But all in all, I think if you were looking for a young adult dark academia fantasy book right now, like this is going to be one of the biggest books of the fall, 100%. I think the fact that it's multiple points of view, if you enjoy that, you are going to love this because each of the 6 characters are so unique and bring something so different to the book, which I really appreciate. I loved the setting of it being set like in the afterlife and the concept of Blackwood and these students going to the school, participating in this competition and these trials to try and either completely move on and forget everything that they went through from their past life or be part of the Ascended. I loved the little relationships and romance we got a peek at, especially August and Ren's characters. They were incredible. The book ended on such a crazy cliffhanger. Like the last 100 pages was so wild, but exactly what I love at the end of a fantasy book. With the plot twist that happened, I'm very nervous about book 2, but I'm super excited. So I really, really love this one. And then I did end up finishing Good Spirits on Sunday, but I wanted to make sure I included my thoughts on this, even though I didn't fully read it in this reading challenge because I ended it on Saturday. But this is another 4.5 stars for me. I absolutely love this. BK Borison's writing, something about her writing specifically and her female main characters just scratches an itch like in my brain. And I will say, I think that if I had read this when it's designed to come out, which is October, leading up to the holiday season, I feel like the vibes alone probably would have pushed it to be a 5-star for me. So basically, it follows Harriet and Nolan, and Nolan is the ghost of Christmas past who is like basically designed to come and haunt Harriet and like get her to figure out her mistakes and like make amends so that she can move on to like living her present life. And from the very beginning, it's very obvious to Nolan and Harriet that Harriet is a very, very good person and like really hasn't done anything wrong to deserve a ghost haunting her. And so the two of them throughout the book are trying to figure out like why they were brought together, why Nolan's mission is to come help her, and basically like what they're doing for each other. And I just loved Harriet's character. I connected to her so much as a chronic people pleaser, as someone who wants to make choices in my life to do what makes me happy and like fight against the urge to do what other people expect of you. I really loved her journey through like her different insecurities, especially when it comes to someone loving her and someone like wanting to be with her and spend time with her. And just all around, the holiday vibes in this book were so good and so perfect. And I loved Nolan's character and learning about his past and how the two of them like comforted and supported each other. It was so good. So I can definitely see myself rereading this book in the future, and I highly recommend checking it out, even if you're not normally into holiday romances like me, because I think that you will really enjoy this during the fall into the winter. Okay, so that is it for this little swapping screen time with reading vlog. I hope that you enjoyed watching this and seeing like a very realistic reading week in my life, but also when I could, I was really pushing myself to read for basically over 3 hours every day. I read some amazing books and found some new favorites, and honestly, this was such a good way to like be more aware of my screen time, put down my phone and focus in on reading, which is my favorite thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little challenge. I liked doing a little reading challenge for once. It was really fun. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you subscribe to see more bookish videos from me in the future, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.